In the world of app development, there is no shortage of tools that we can use to automate our tasks. It seems like these are popping up on a weekly basis. There's Grunt, there's Gulp, there's Bower, and lately there's Browserify, Webpack, System.js, and all sorts of different terminology that could confuse us as we get it more into development. Gulp is one of the mainstays of my personal projects, and I use it in the majority of applications that I build. Just like I use NPM to pull in any project dependencies, Gulp is there to help run my tasks. Now, what would Gulp, a build system, or a task runner actually do for us? When we're developing our applications, there's many things that we would need to do, like bringing in a bunch of CSS files. If we're working with Sass, we would have to compile that down to CSS every time we saved a Sass file. If we're also working with CSS, there are things that we need to do that we'd like to automate, like adding vendor prefixes like -moz-border radius or WebKit border radius. We'd also like to minify our files, and if we have multiple Sass files or multiple CSS files, it makes sense to combine them into one file for production so that it lowers the amount of requests that our website has to make for resources. Now, those are the main things that a build system can do for us. We basically are going to combine a bunch of files together, compile them, minify them, and make sure that they work across browsers. And these are the main things we're going to work with. There's a ton more we can do with Gulp. Just know that if you think you have a task that you want to automate, Gulp most likely has a plugin to help you do that. To get started with Gulp, we just need to do two very quick things. We need to have Node and NPM installed. And then we can either install Gulp two different ways. One, we can install it globally across our system so that the Gulp command is available wherever we are in our system. Or we can also save it directly to a project. In this way, when we save it to a project and we share a project across team members, everybody will be required to pull in Gulp. And then you won't have to worry about telling people that, hey, we're using Gulp in this project. They just know since it's in the package.json. Now, everything in Gulp is all done inside of the gulpfile.js. That's all we need. We just need to configure this one gulpfile.js, and everything else will be ready to go. Let's start our Gulp application, where we can test out a couple different Gulp techniques. We will make a new directory called Gulp app, cd in the Gulp app. Since this is going to be an app that uses NPM modules, we are going to install a package.json. npm init. We can run through the installation. We'll call this Gulp app. Version 1 is fine. Description, a repo to test out Gulp configurations and tasks. Index.js is a fine entry point. No test commands, no git repo right now. MIT license, so everyone in the world can use it, and we will start there. Now we have a package.json. We'll make sure we install Gulp, npm install save dev Gulp, and this will install it directly to our package.json. The last thing we need to start up is touch gulpfile.js to create that new Gulp file, ls, and that's everything we need. Now we have the node modules from npm, where it brought in Gulp for us. We have our gulpfile.js, we have our package.json. We can open this in Sublime Text now. And this is everything we need to get started with Gulp.